Joel with Muddy Crux Off-Road again. Today we're going to be doing 5 things I like and 5 things I dislike about my ZJ. For starters, one of the things I like about my ZJ is the color. I really love the color of this thing. You don't see very many sapphire blue. The paint quality on this thing is absolutely horrible, but it still looks really good. So there's a lot of scratches, a lot of dents and stuff that's fallen on it, but it's still a very beautiful color. All right, number 2 thing I really love about my ZJ is this one has rear coil spring suspension. So you get your softer ride on the road. Like I said, I daily buy ZJ. So you get the softer ride on the road. You don't feel and hurt yourself when you go over train tracks and stuff like that. I mean, you can if you hit them fast enough, but you get more flex off-road. But I guess the downside to that is you have to worry about dropping an axle if you don't have retaining straps. So you win some, you lose some, I guess. Number 3 thing I really like about my Jeep ZJ is the solid axles. Solid front axle, solid rear axle. So here in Texas, there's a lot of Toyotas, okay? And you see a lot of videos online about Toyotas kind of teeter-tottering and 3-wheeling and stuff, and that's because they're independent suspension. When you disconnect sway bars on a solid front axle like this or the XJ, you stay planted. You get all 4 tires on the ground at all times. So you get the extra flex, you get the extra stability, and that's why you see so many like heavy duty rigs that people have built up. Even if they're Toyotas, they put 1-tons in it. They put solid front axles in the front just for the stability and it being planted. All right, so the 4th thing I really enjoy about my ZJ is the drivetrain on it. Well, the motors. I really enjoy the motors. So in a ZJ, you can get a 4.0, legendary, you can't kill them. You get a 5.2, legendary, you can't kill them. You can get a 5.9, same deal, you can't kill them. I mean, each one of them is kind of known for their issues, but they're all really reliable engines. I've had all 3 of them, not necessarily in ZJs, but I've had all 3 of those engines in vehicles that I've owned in the past. I've never had any problems with them. They've always been really reliable. They've always been really easy to work on. It's a lot easier to drive something like this every day when you know that you have a solid foundation to start with. Another thing I like, and this isn't necessarily number 5, I just had the hood open and I realized I really enjoyed it. The hood supports on a ZJ. You get the old style spring supports instead of having to put the bar up or having the lift supports. These you don't ever have to service. They always hold the hood up. They make a little bit of noise, but I'd rather have this over the bar that you have to put up on an XJ. All right, the 5th thing I like about the ZJs is how cheap they are to lift, to be honest with you. So if you buy one of these stock, you can buy a set of 4-inch rough country springs for like 200 bucks. That'll lift the front. You take the front springs out, put them in the back, and you've got a 4-inch lift for like 250 bucks. So they're really cheap to work on. They're really cheap to modify until you start getting into bumpers and stuff, then they kind of suck. But just getting it up off the ground to be able to put some tires on it, make it more capable, they're really inexpensive to work on, which is really cool. Okay, so number 1 thing I absolutely hate about a Jeep ZJ is the cup holders. If you don't have the Mountain Vista Fab Fix and you're stuck with whatever the heck this is, you can't hold anything. I've got my bottle and I got it stuck it between the center console and the seat because the cup holders won't hold it. They're not big enough for this bottle, and then they're too big for a standard 32-ounce cup. So you get the Mountain Vista Fab Fix, that fixes your problem there. We'll kind of take this off as a piggyback for number 2. I just felt really passionate about those cup holders. I hate them a lot. Standard plastic Chrysler interior, so just about every plastic piece in this thing is broken. My radio bezel's broken. I've got a big chunk missing out of my dash. There's cracks all up and down all the plastic pieces over here. They just didn't put very much money into their interior. I mean, my center console lid just comes off. It's broken. So I mean, it's just all this cheap plastic. It gets to be 20-some years old and it just doesn't last. Okay, number 3 thing I really don't like about the ZJs is there's not very much aftermarket support for them. Trying to find a set of bumpers, they're $2 grand, 2,500 bucks. I didn't even pay that for the Jeep. I've got a problem spending more than I've paid for the vehicle for the bumpers. I've been looking on Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist and all that stuff. I've been looking for months. Not one bumper's come up for a ZJ. So you have to keep that in mind when you buy one of these. Your lift kit's cheap, but everything else isn't. So it's gonna cost me a small fortune to put bumpers on this thing. Number 4 thing I really dislike about my ZJ is the factory roof rack. The factory roof rack has no support whatsoever. It's made out of all kinds of cheap plastic. You can't put any kind of weight on there, otherwise the bars will bow. They tried to put like extra support bars commonly found on like the 5.9s. People came out with little tabs to kind of go up inside of the brackets here and reinforce them, but nothing you do to a factory roof rack makes it able to handle any kind of weight. Like if you want to put a tent on top of your ZJ, you're gonna have to buy an aftermarket roof rack, or you're gonna have to build one. Like those are your options. So you can't put any weight on your roof rack. So Mountain Vista Fab has just come out with a new one. Hopefully we get one of those and get it put on here soon so I can actually utilize my roof rack. But this stock one, it just leaves a lot to be desired. I mean, you could probably make it work if you want to reinforce it and build custom bars and stuff, but I'd rather just put one on there that works. 5th thing I don't like about my ZJ is same thing about the XJ. They're just known for rusting. The ZJs, they kind of went the extra mile and undercoated the floors, so they don't have much of a floor problem, but they've got the same problem on the rockers where there's access holes and stuff just gets piled up in there and they rust away. All the common spots, you know, wheel well arches and stuff, they all rust real bad. So if you're looking for something that's a clean ZJ, you're going to want to look for something that's been on the road mostly, because the undercoating on the floors will help with like road dirt, and as long as it hasn't been like driven down gravel roads or dirt roads its whole life, there shouldn't be much stuff in the rockers, and you should be able to get a relatively rust-free one. Once again, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like this kind of video, make sure you like it so I know you enjoy it. I've got some more Jeeps I can do reviews on like this, 5 things I like and don't like. I've got a JQ and a Gladiator I have access to. So if you want to see those videos, make sure you comment down below, subscribe, hit the bell. We'll catch you guys on the next one.